Destined for the title, red-hot Hazard and Chelsea are back with a bang. It's the end of an era as a Premier League great calls time on a glittering career. And a parting of the ways, how a Hammers hero went to zero.
I'm there for the team.
It's Eden Hazard. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
I score goals.
Eden Hazard has gone for goal. Expert precision. A finish with finesse.
I give everything to come back, and now I'm in my real level.
Eden Hazard scoring week on week.
This season has seen the return of the Eden Hazard that fired Chelsea to title glory in 2015. Fully aware that he didn't hit the heights expected of him last term, the rejuvenated Belgian has been key to the West London club's ruthless march to the Premier League summit this time around.
Last season, everyone knows I was not good enough. I finished well the season. I played good Euros. So I started the season well, fit, no injury. It's better. It's better to play well when you are ready to play. So I'm ready to play. I want to play. I want to enjoy on the pitch. This is the key.
Generally speaking, not just Hazard, lots of different players, like from Matic to Costa, their performance levels really dipped in that first half of the season, and we're only now seeing them get back to the players that we all know they can be.
I was not good enough. We learned from our mistake, and I give everything to come back in my level, and now I'm in my real level.
I think with Chelsea this season, even after the transfer window closed, he still looked at Hazard and said, if they're going to do well this season, it has to be, he has to play as well as we all know he can. He looks super sharp. He's one of the quickest players with the ball that you'll find, and just affect games. You know, he is one of those players who can genuinely kind of twist the defender's blood.
It's not just Hazard that's thriving under the tutelage of Antonio Conte. The Italian has inspired a renaissance at Stamford Bridge as the Blues fire on all cylinders.
He adapted to the players that he had around him. And we saw in his first press conference, he said, I think the job of a coach is very similar to the job of a tailor. It's about sort of, cutting your cloth accordingly to suit the players that you've got.
It's always difficult to come back after a bad season, but he changed something, tried to give more confidence. We give a new system in the pre-season. We work a lot now. Yes, we have confidence.
And you can see that 3-4-3 just suits Chelsea perfectly.
The former Juventus manager's change in approach has paid dividends as the West London club are playing with a swagger that was significantly absent last season.
They are playing like potential champions. Their confidence is overflowing.
We are in full confidence. We are top of the league. We also want to stay top of the league.
I think it's like appetite comes with eating. The more you win, the more confident you get. I think they really believe in this way of playing.
They've equalled the record of successive wins in a Premier League season. This is title form by Chelsea.
We won 14 games in a row, so it's not every year you can do this. We score a lot of goals. We didn't concede a lot of goals. But yeah, I think we can do better.
I think what will surprise them is how relentless Conte is. When he was at Juventus, for example, even when the title was won, he kept hammering things home to them.
Yeah, we know this league is difficult. You never know. You never know. Everything can happen. For the moment now, we are top of the league. But the other team, they are very strong.
In terms of Chelsea having that mentality to go through over the line, yes, they've got those players who've been there done before. They've certainly got a manager who will accept no complacency whatsoever.
We have to be ready for everything. But we are in this position, and we know what to do.
Giving back to the community is vitally important to Premier League clubs. And recently, at Southampton, an event was held where a number of first-team players took part in sporting activities with fans who'd won the experiences in a charity auction arranged by the club last year.
It's obviously great for players to be able to get involved in something like this as well, so delighted that we can help out in any way, the way that we can, and obviously it's been an enjoyable day as well playing golf.
We are in a position that we can help so many people, and we need to take that advantage, and also knowing our supporters, the ways they see things, the way they think about the club and the way we play, so everything is nice. We need sometimes to keep our head off football, and this is one of the things that we like to do when we are doing something different, and as I said, just to keep our mind in other things.
The two young lads that we're playing against today, their dad bid for this at the end of the season, and delighted to get out here with them and see what they're about.
I'll go first, so I'll set the standard, which will be terrible, so you're going to win. Spin. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's under a bit of pressure. I think the two young lads are quite impressive from what we've been told, so I look forward to seeing him shanking a few into the rough.
Don't watch where the ball went. The guys are brilliant. They're straight down the middle every time. It's quite annoying, really. We're enjoying it. We're having a bit of a laugh. You know, the dads are joining in every now and again as well.
A fortnight ago, Shane Long's goal against Liverpool in the League Cup helped the Saints reach the final of the competition for just the second time. But a busy fixture schedule seems to have taken its toll on Southampton, with their results beginning to fade.
The games are coming thick and fast, but I think if you asked any player, they'd rather play games than train, but it can be difficult in terms of the preparation, preparing for the next game, and you don't really get much chance to work in your opposition and how you're going to set up, but I think that's the biggest difference. But as players, you want to play as many games as possible. We're going through a little bit of a sticky patch at the minute, and it's important that we try and get out of that and get back to our best form. But I think for the players that are going out on the pitch, it's just a case of focusing on each game as it comes and turning our fortunes around.
So do we know what line we stand on? That's the important bit. The closest one. The closest.
Are you good in that?
No.
Okay. That's good. I hit the one, and then I go to the
two. Yeah. I'm feeling confident now.
Oriol Romeu's dart skills might be questionable, but on the field his form has been anything but. The Spaniard has been key to Claude Puel's side and has started in all bar one of their league games so far this season.
If he has given me some confidence to play every week in, week out, I just want to give that confidence back and tell him when I'm playing that I want to help the team, I want to do the best for my teammates, and I will try my best every game. The way he wants to play, I think, is a good one, dominating the game, having the ball, playing out from the back. Of course you're going to do that every time and against every opponent, but we want to achieve that, and we want to get better with those things, and hopefully we can dominate more in the game, and more wins will come.
Possibilities here, it's Ward-Prowse! Well, there's a real mood changer for Southampton.
We'll have to make sure we finish in a good way, and we get into those important matches that we have. We need to make sure that we are there, we give everything, and we win those to finish this season like with the right feelings.
Yeah. Oh, well played.
That's in.
Well done.
Did you have an idol, a player that you looked up to when you were growing up?
It was Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard.
Lampard! It's the inevitable Frank Lampard goal!
I've done it with my football career. I've tried to eke out every bit I can out of it, because I know when it's gone, it's completely gone and you can't come back. So that's why I say I've got no regrets, because I think I carried on going as long as I could, tried to get the best out of myself and everything that was around me in the circumstances. And now it's time to move on. So I think that will be goodbye, but I've had an absolutely amazing time doing it.
Last week, Frank Lampard called time on a football playing career that spanned 21 years, winning 11 major trophies and scoring 177 English top-flight goals. Stats that truly justify his status as a proper Premier League legend. His journey to the top began back in 1994 as a youth player at West Ham.
The earliest memory with Frank was basically his love of the game, his enthusiasm to play the game and constantly wanting the ball in every position and any position that he was in. I think his dad was massively influential with him as a young player, telling him to always want the ball, keep looking, get a picture. And he always had good vision and he always had a good passing range and he always knew his next pass.
My boyhood club had been West Ham at the time, so I just remember the nerves, the excitement, coming on as a sub next to Gordon Strachan, who was finishing his career, same age as me now, unfortunately, and coming on and just, you know, doing what I wanted to do all my career, really. It's obviously still a long road to go after that, but at the time I felt like that was the best thing that could have happened.
Lampard made 148 appearances for the Hammers before relocating across London to Chelsea, where he started the most famous and prolific chapter in his career, rapidly becoming a star at Stamford Bridge.
Unbelievable! Chelsea's Frank Lampard!
He's up and down the pitch, he arrives in the box very late and scores lots of goals. I think that's really key. He had a real desire to want to be the best he could be and worked terribly hard to achieve that.
I'd like to think I had a talent to be able to do that, but hard work comes just as much as that, because at the top level now, to stay at the top level for a long period of time, you have to keep working hard all the time. I've been very fortunate in many ways, playing with great players, playing with managers who give you confidence.
Lampard played a key part in Chelsea's first ever back-to-back title successes in 2005 and 2006, scoring an impressive 29 league goals over those 2 seasons alone.
I won the Premier League, which is the ultimate in terms of what you see growing up, is to have a league medal, be part of a strong team.
Over the following years, Lampard added another Premier League title to his already glowing CV, plus a Champions League medal, and he also became Chelsea's record scorer in all competitions. But in the summer of 2014, he made the move north from the Blues of Chelsea, signing a short-term deal in the blue half of Manchester.
I think I came here with not great expectations, but in my own head I wanted to do well, and I think I'm pretty pleased throughout the season. So I've got a real appreciation for the club. I can only thank them for that.
Frank Lampard! Unbelievable!
Lampard played 32 league matches for City before heading stateside to see out his career at New York City FC. Now looking ahead to new challenges, he reflects on his time at the top with a great fondness, one club in particular holding a special place in his heart.
I was at a fantastic club in Chelsea that had a very good team. I think it was I've joined the club before the Roman Abramovich years, but it became a real sort of golden era, and so I feel kind of fortunate to have been involved in that.
Still to come, we catch up with former Sheffield United, Leeds and Middlesbrough star Brian Deane and relive that historic goal.
And Payet, lovely! £11 million worth of burgeoning talent from Marseille.
He was hailed as the best thing to happen to West Ham since Paolo Di Canio.
It's Payet, it's brilliant, absolutely magnificent.
He's got it into Payet, this to finish it. Oh, beautifully done from one of the signings of the season.
Had a situation with a player. It is Dimitri Payet. He wants to leave. The club As I said so many times before, we don't want to sell him. He refused to play for us. So until he changed his attitude, he's out of the team.
Dimitri Payet has often cut a frustrated figure this season, his body language at times suggesting he'd rather be anywhere else than West Ham.
West Ham's Dimitri Payet does have his heart set on a move to Marseille. We believe a second bid has been lodged and rejected for the midfielder, but
After West Ham rejected 2 Marseille bids and signed Robert Snodgrass, Payet was then sold before the January transfer deadline, returning to his former club in a £25 million deal.
The French press said he had to come back to France for family reasons. I had Dimitri when I was sporting director at Saint-Etienne. He was a player, so I worked with him or dealt with him for 2 seasons, so I know him very well. And I know that his dream was to play in the Premier League. And after 18 months, he decides to go back to France on less money. And in a club, you know, it's not like he's going to PSG where he's going to win things. In a club that is in a massive rebuilding process. So it's very, very strange.
The attacking midfielder joined West Ham from Marseille for £10.7 million in June 2015. He scored 12 goals in all competitions in his first season and was nominated for the PFA Players Player of the Year award.
Obviously his performances last season were top class, and he went to the Euros and was outstanding. And I think West Ham fans are of the opinion that it's been poor for the majority of this season, but I didn't buy into that. I think he started off the season pretty well, and even though the team was struggling, he was still carrying them really in many respects, and he scored the goal against Middlesbrough at home, which was a fantastic individual goal.
Magnificent from Payet. Even better from Payet. It's brilliant from Payet. Can he finish? It's wonderful. Magnificent. An astonishing goal by Dimitri Payet.
I personally think he's got the talent to play for the biggest clubs in the world. You know, he should be playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona. And he's back at Marseille, and he's 30. So for me, it's a step backward. It's not a step forward.
West Ham accused him of a lack of commitment and respect, insisting they didn't need to sell him. Joint chairman David Sullivan claimed he wanted him to stay to make an example of him, but Bilic approved the sale in favour of squad unity.
They say to the player, you want to go back to the Marseille, but you'll do it in our terms because you extended your contract a few months ago. We don't have to sell you. We are protected contractually. We don't need money. We are West Ham. You know, we are not £25 million short. So either you leave on our terms or you stay.
They kind of froze him out, which they had to do, because you can't have players acting like that in the change room. It spreads like wildfire, and other players think they can get away with it as well.
The only way for West Ham to sell the player for the maximum amount is to be the tough guys and to say to the player, if we don't get what we want, you stay here and you stay until the end of the season. You don't play, it doesn't matter. We can afford to pay your wages even if you don't play. And I knew from day one that this would end up of the player going on the 31st or the 30th. He went on the 30th just because everybody's playing poker.
But the way he's acted through the whole thing has definitely left a bitter taste in everyone's mouth connected with West Ham.
It was obvious from day when I announced it openly and everything that he will go. We only wanted to get the best price possible, of course.
You have to play that game. You have to protect the club's interest. You have to protect an asset. You know, if somebody wants a player, you know that Marseille are desperate to get him, so you are going to try to do the best deal possible. And they've done their job. They got as much money as possible they could get for a player who is 30. That's the end of the story.
Obiang through to Carroll, lovely ball, fabulous finish. What a response from West Ham.
They've brought in decent reinforcements in January and Fonse and Snodgrass, etc. So I think they'll be fine. I think it's just one of those seasons where it's not gone great for them. They're still in a decent position in the league, but I'm sure Bilic will want to get to the end of the season now in a relatively good position, and then hopefully the club can move on from there.
The opening day of the inaugural Premier League season. Someone was going to make history. And recently we caught up with the man who did. the scorer of the very first Premier League goal, Brian Deane.
It's a good legacy. It seems like yesterday all the time. You think about some of the players who were playing in that era, Alan Shearer.
What an effort and what a goal from Alan Shearer!
Paul Merson.
Oh, great goal, Merson!
Les Ferdinand, Ian Wright. To get my goal in front of all of those guys was fantastic.
Manchester United travelled to Sheffield United. Alex Ferguson's side had been runners-up the previous season and were clear favourites.
Playing against Manchester United and to go 1-0 up quite soon after the kick-off was just, amazing for us. It's all kind of a blur. I'd told myself beforehand that I was going to score. We obviously worked on set pieces, and when you're playing against Man United and so on, your chances are going to be, few and far between. So we'd worked on where we could apply pressure to them and perhaps gain an advantage.
It's Carl Bradshaw with the throw. And Brian Deane's header! So early in the game, Sheffield United have the start they sought.
Penalty as well, made it to, I think, 2-0.
Brian Deane then with the chance to double up on opening day. It's Deane, it's there.
Yeah, it was a nice way to start the season with a brace against Manchester United. I don't think anybody realised the significance of scoring the first goal in the new era as it was then.
The top tier had separated from the lower divisions, bankrolled by a lucrative satellite television deal. A revolution was underway with funding, wages, popularity and the standard of play all on the up.
There'd been a lot of hype about what was changing. There'd been discussions, obviously, the year before about the fact that, it was a whole new ball game, and I think everybody realised that there was something new and it had been revamped. There's now an opportunity for players to really become household names.
Deane's 15 league goals helped Sheffield United finish 14th, a remarkable feat considering the meagre resources available to manager Dave Bassett.
He's alright after Monday morning, you know what I mean? He comes in with a bit of a sore head sometimes, but he's okay.
Is that through drink or through your performance?
Performance.
It's fair to say that he was thoroughly deserved. We probably had the cheapest budget in the league, and we did overachieve, really.
Deane changed employer after the season finished, moving from South to West Yorkshire to join Leeds United. But his 4 seasons at Elland Road failed to eclipse his feats at Bramall Lane.
I scored over 200 goals, but I think in terms of the amount of goals that I should have scored, perhaps I should have scored some more. I should have perhaps had a better belief in myself. I think my goal tally at Leeds was disappointing for me. I played for a long period of time out in a wider position, which meant that I wasn't exposed to the amount of chances. I was more creative then.
Looking to put Deane away, and he has done! Brian Deane! Remarkable!
Deane resumed his Premier League career with Middlesbrough after Brian Robson ended the forward's 9-month spell in Portugal with Benfica.
Playing for Brian Robson was a big thing for me. He's got such a aura as a person. When I was up there at Middlesbrough, they did a fantastic job in bringing in some of the players they did, but that must have been hard work. You're recruiting some of the best players in the world, like Giannini or Ravanelli came over. I could go on, but that was a fantastic era for the club, make no mistake.
His final Premier League port of call was Leicester City, helping them to promotion in 2003. After retiring in 2006 and then a 2-year spell in management in Norway, he took on a consultancy in sports law.
I was just very fortunate to be a lad who broke his leg when he was 17. I broke my tibia fibula and I dislocated my ankle. Spent the next 7 or 8 months praying to God that I was going to be able to come through that. I was probably destined to do what I did when I think about it that way. Had a lot of knocks, but I believed in myself. Whether I believed in myself enough or whether I should have done more is a question that sometimes I can ask myself. But I can't have, to play for 21 years and do something you love for 21 years is you know you're blessed.
It's just an awe-inspiring place, really. I mean, it either frightens you to death or it gives you a magnificent lift.
There's so much history and nostalgia here. This is Anfield. For me, there's no other ground in the world like it.
Next week, we tell the story of one of the Premier League's most iconic grounds, Liverpool's often intimidating and always atmospheric Anfield. Until then, from John Champion and me, Dave Farrer, goodbye.